Welcome to Live, Life Inspired Views for Every Day. My name is Chris Meyer, and I'm a curious soul. When we were first married, we lived across the street from a retired couple, Evelyn and Ray. I'd come home each day after teaching preschool and walk over to their house to sit and chat a bit in their living room. Evelyn was always doing something, cleaning, cooking, canning, but Ray, he sat in the corner of the living room in his big recliner. He had lost most of the vision in one of his eyes due to a torn retina. Because of that, he had to give up farming and his job as a mechanic. Now he helped Evelyn around the house or just sat in his big recliner. As we chatted those many afternoons, he would often rock in his chair and say, "Christy," they were the only people who called me Christy. He'd say, "This retirement isn't what it's cracked up to be." His eye problem seemed to have robbed him of his purpose and much of his joy in life. He just couldn't see a way to live the life he had imagined. I remember thinking at that time that I needed to be prepared so that if my eyes would go someday, I could do this. If my hearing went, I could do that. If my hands or my feet went, I could do this. If my mind went, I only hoped I was cute and very happy. Well, those thoughts circulated in my mind nearly 49 years ago. Since then, I have had nodules and thyroid cancer that affects my voice occasionally, eye surgery due to a retina thing, a broken wrist which sprung a big case of carpal tunnel so that a surgery was needed on that hand, and then another coming on the opposite side, and it's reduced some of the things I can do. Two foot surgeries that left me able to walk easily only when I'm using Hoka tennis shoes. It's weird how all those things seem to have happened, but they did. And they had the potential to put a damper on the purpose of my life, but they didn't. And even if they did, I'm determined that I would find some way to circumvent the disability, so to speak, in order to continue living fully. There's a story about a Polish painter named Joseph Szajna. He was a leading designer of a great theater. He was forced into a concentration camp during World War II and was confined to a standing cell, which was only 4 feet by 4 feet and housed four other prisoners. It was made of blocks with no windows and a ceiling open to the sky. But Joseph was passionate about his art. Since he had to stand so many nights without sleeping, he used that time to better his skills and build a mental portfolio and catalog of his paintings. He would stand motionless, looking up at the sky, bringing his creative mind alive, painting on canvases in his mind while looking at the stars. He visualized his paintbrushes, his palette, his oils, and his canvases in detail. He never stopped pursuing his passion, even when confined and deprived of tools and basic needs. And he survived. Someone wise once said, "When you change the way you see things, the things you see change." I wonder how things would have changed for Ray if he had seen possibilities instead of roadblocks. Would he have been able to change to another purpose after his eyesight was no longer acute enough to do the work he had once done? Purpose is so important to our resiliency. Hand in hand with that is the ability to problem solve. That enables us to see beyond a barrier and figure out a new path. Like General Douglas MacArthur said, "We are not retreating, we are advancing in another direction." Once in an airport in Amsterdam, I found this little book called "Whatever You Think, Think the Opposite." It's been a treasure. One page is entitled "Take Charge." The author states, "When things go wrong, it's tempting to shift the blame. Don't. Accept responsibility. People will appreciate it and you will find out what you're capable of." Hmm, well, that's powerful. Perhaps we should all take a lesson from Ray's story and prepare ahead of time. Spend some time thinking, if this, then this. If we cannot prepare a talent ahead of time, we can prepare our minds. There was once a young man working in an advertising agency. One day he told his manager that he was going to quit because he was going to become a drummer. His manager, surprised, said, "I didn't know you knew how to play the drums." The young man replied, "I don't, but I'm going to." In several years, he was playing in a band with Eric Clapton and Jack Bruce called Cream. His name was Ginger Baker. He became what he wanted to before he could do it. We know life changes can happen. We can't control them, only how we react to them. This week on your bathroom mirror, write, "There's always a way." And by the way, if everything works but my mind, I hope you'll enjoy the show. Join me next Monday for Live, Life Inspired Views for Every Day. I'm Chris Meyer, and I'm a curious soul.